sorry, and thank you at the exact same time. Monday morning, I'm not in the yard. I'm in Bologna on the Yanni Mai's Grand Tour. Last week I told you we're going to start taking the non-haz material, which is down the bottom of the yard next to the bags, and move it up to the top. That will begin on Tuesday, but we have a large job of about 60 loads which is coming in today, and those lorries are going to make their way up the slab and start tipping immediately in a new area to prepare to be loaded onto the train. It's the first time I've ever been in Bologna. All I knew about it previously was what I knew from watching Italian football on Channel 4 on a Sunday. If you know, you know. In a couple of hours, I'm going to try and have a call when I'm not driving with the client from the refurbishment project. I told you last week in Weekly that the council have let us know through our pre-application that it is likely they will not grant planning permission to extend the pool house in any way whatsoever. But now we have another problem because we've discovered that the pool house was built illegally. It has been there for 4 years. So the council, by rights, if they really wanted to, could make our lives extremely difficult. They could ask us to take it down if we start to refurbish it. The way it is at the moment, they're not going to say anything, but once we touch it, they could put an enforcement. It's not a risk that I believe I can decide we're going to take, so we're going to have a call with the client and see the best way to proceed. Back at the yard, of course, we continue with the concreting. Yep, a new week, but the same old repetitive Ashville concrete pours. This is the second slab up the top of the yard in the infill section. Unlike the rest of the yard, these slabs are going to be 300mm thick as there's limited traffic travelling over them. Then it's the first slab outside the workshop, which will be used as a reference point for the remaining slabs in this area. Once the slab next to this is complete, we'll create a ramp so my townie and kit can get in and out the workshop. And that's it for Monday. It's Tuesday. I'm not in the yard. I'm in Venice, Italy. I told you last week that we're going to be providing materials and pouring concrete to our neighbours, Celtic. Well, we're now going to bring the materials over to them so they can begin to prepare. At the refurbishment project. A few weeks back, we showed you the fireplace housing complete and the start of the floating wall above. Unlike the base, which is clad in cement board for fire resistance, this top section can be finished in plasterboard. Before this, within the wall, we fit a sheet of ply to ensure we have a firm fixing for the planned TV. Above, we work to close the ceiling by first fitting metal perimeter channel and then C-channel from the perimeter channel to the 4x2 construction of the downstand for the coffer lighting feature. I am now in Croatia. Open my laptop and the plot has thickened again with this pool house. A note from the council. Officers note that there is no record of planning permission for the existing building, and the existing building does not comply with permitted development under Class E. The existing outbuilding would appear to have been constructed between 2003 and 2006, according to satellite imagery. As they say in Rocky IV, after the Apollo and Ivan Drago fight, what started out as a joke has turned out to be a disaster. What started out as trying to improve has actually opened a can of worms and caused 100 more problems. We're definitely going to have to discuss the way forward, which could end up being a certificate of lawfulness as opposed to the extension and refurbishment which we wanted to do. Anyway, I had a fun drive earlier. For clarity, I am not driving my personal car. The lads at IX Rental have hooked me up with a car for the duration of the trip. It's a lot more suited to these type of longer, speedier, but legal drives between these lovely cities. And when we ended up in the town square in Croatia today, lads threw the drone up and a local news team turned up. So the sticker man is going to be on the news and your boy will also be on the news. I don't know if it's the 6 o'clock or the 9 o'clock news. Don't know the importance of 40 supercars turning up and being parked in the local shopping centre. Back in the yard, the oversized tipper, which you saw help us move the plum and blue slate from the top of the yard down to the bottom so we could bag it, that tipper has now arrived and the lads are going to jump in and the L860 is going to be parked between the hot gates. 605 on one side so it can load lorries that come in to collect, and the non-haz on the other side, which will load the oversized tipper and run the material up to the top of the yard so we can start preparing for the train, which we hope will be next Thursday or Friday. It's Wednesday, in the yard. We're pouring in front of the silo and then the infills up the top of the yard. Have a look at this view. This rivals any international airport or military base. When I eventually do become a pilot, this is going to be a great runway. I'm in Split, Croatia, and not on the road again, as we are not driving today. I've spent the majority of today working. I have an appraisal which I've been working on, and I had to watch Ashville Weekly episode 246, which is coming out on Sunday. Click here to watch that video. That took me about 3 hours to make notes. I've had to record a few bits of voiceover to explain some of the work which took place. And while I was doing it, it brought me back to when I was in St. Lucia, standing on the land, talking about producing the videos, how much time it takes, and that in fact I will need to change my priority somewhat. Because the 3 hours I spent today watching the video, which was required, I know some people would say
it wasn't required, you're just doing it because it's something that you want to do.
However, the interpretation of it, it's something that I am doing. I could have been spending those 3 hours working on my appraisal and moving it forward. So I am most definitely going to be taking my foot off the accelerator with the volume of videos which is coming out, but I'm going to have a real think before I make any announcements, and of course I will share. In the yard, the material is shifting very fast, moving up to the top, and I'm going to need to have a conversation with FCC about the train that we're trying to have booked for next Thursday and Friday. I need to ensure the shunters of the rail operator know that they are going to need to put the train on the secondary line, as they did in the past once when we couldn't get to the material. With what came in this week already, I think we have enough material for about 8 or 9 trains. So let's get some more material shifted up there. Dudek and David had a meeting at the refurbishment project today with the pool specialist. Now, this has got nothing to do with any of the planning or certificates of lawfulness that I have been talking about. This is just to work out what to do with the air handling system and all of the mechanical equipment and pumps needed for the swimming pool. Now, they suggested 2 options. One is to use the existing plant room, but they only need half of it, which means there's space to possibly fit a small shower in there. But we would have to reduce the size of the pool by 1 meter in width because of the pipe runs and other equipment which needs to be fitted. Option 2 is to create a small shed outside the pool house, which is on the wall underneath a tree, so it will be sheltered in between the kitchen and the pool house. Now, I already asked if it's possible this shed could be at the back of the garden where we're housing the external aircon unit, and I've been told it is possible, but it will increase the price dramatically because of the gradients and distance. The pumps will have to be increased in size. So once again, it's not a decision we can make. We're going to have to go to the client, but I think the client is going to have an objection about having this shed basically next to their kitchen, so when they open their bifolds and they're entertaining in the summer, they can see it. But I'll have to give the two separate prices and let them know the difference so they can make a decision. And the pool specialist pointed out something else. They said
that because of the depth of the pool, which at the deepest point is 3 meters, they will need to fit 2 filters to keep it clean.
However, when refurbishing, if the pool was only 2 meters at the deepest point, they could do it with 1 filter, and it changes completely the specification because of how many times the water has to circulate and be cleaned within an hour. So once again, we will report to the client and try to make the best decision with planning, refurbishing, mechanical and engineering, and external space. So continually with the pool house at the refurbishment project, the plot thickens. And that's it for Wednesday.
Most of the Ashville team are out in the field at the tip of the spear, either in the yard or out on construction sites. Now, communication and management is key, but this can be challenging with a deskless workforce. So we use Connect Team. Connect Team is an all-in-one employee management app that's easy to set up and easy to use for both management and employees, which offers features like scheduling, forms, checklists, training, and onboarding. We set up checklists for the team with daily, weekly, and monthly tasks which need to be carried out. Now, it's easy to use, can be done from their mobile phone, and once a task is complete, they tick it off and management receive a notification. And to know where everyone is in the team and the hours they work, we use the clock-in feature with geofencing, which allows them to clock in and clock out of shifts and on different jobs. And they can only do this when they are physically on location. So, if like 80% of the world, you have a deskless team who are based out in the field, use the Connect Team all-in-one employee management app. It works for all size companies in all industries and is fantastic at bridging the gap for people who are not tech savvy or don't have access to emails. Click the link in the description and download the app for your free 14-day trial with no credit card info needed. And remember that Connect Team is free for life for teams with under 10 users.
What's the day today? Thursday. It's Thursday. I'm not in the yard. I'm not in my car either. I've jumped in with Manny from Elite Pave because I've had a little bit of mechanical problem in the Ashville vehicle. My DJI, what I normally film with, is in the car, which is now on the back of a lorry coming to the hotel. Busy day in the yard today. We've been preparing for this for a while, and at last, the Ashville concrete lorries are going to do a bit of work. Forgive all the jumping around, this man is driving. The concrete pour we're doing for our neighbours is about to start.
We are supplying a C20 concrete, which is only going to have very light traffic and storage units on top of it.
Just had a call with FCC trying to plan the trains for next week. Now, we've managed to move about 3 trains worth of gear and we only have 1 booked, and unfortunately FCC can't give us any more. But the week after, we're planning to have 4 trains. I had to send them over a bit of a method statement letting them know the new way we're going to load the trains while we're concreting. So stay with me. You saw Simon and I talking about this a couple of weeks back. So we're going to arrive loco first. Loco into the yard, uncouples, switches onto the secondary line, goes out on the main line, runs around, connects to the top of the train, which was the back of the train, but is now the front of the train. Uncouples 10 wagons. The loco takes 10 wagons out on the main line and reverses those 10 wagons onto the secondary line all the way down to the stopper. Then the loco uncouples again, goes out on the main line, comes back in on the primary line, connects to the 10 wagons which are left, and pulls them forward for loading. Once they are loaded, uncouple the loco again, go out on the main line, reverse onto the secondary line, take the empty 10 wagons, go back out on the main line, reverse in on the main line, connect the 10 empty to the 10 which are loaded, and push the 10 loaded down into the yard, and then the empty 10 will be where the material is piled. Sounds very complicated, but I've worked it all out, and that's how it's going to work. So we're trying to ensure that we are ready should in case FCC have a cancellation, and I need them to send a message to the freight operator to let them know so the shunter is aware and there are no surprises on the day.
We're finishing off all the little bits and pieces in central London. In the bedroom, we're fitting the ironmongery on the sash windows. We start with the finger lifters, which are brushed nickel to match the bathroom fittings. We fit packers beneath to ensure the finger lifters are evenly spaced from the window frame. Next is the silicone in the kitchen, which seals the gap between the worktop and the splashback. Then the gap between the storage shelf and wall. Then underneath, between the shelf and splashback, we can also see the recessed LED. The last area to be sealed is between the skirting and tiled floor. In the living room, Bartouche is doing the final electrical connections. The control 4 wall switch and air conditioning thermostats are already connected. All we have left to do is the underfloor heating stat and recess LEDs within the media unit.
I think it's another episode with Dudek Weekly. I come to the yard just to grab some tools from the container. On Central London project, we have just left to do small bits and pieces, some silicone, some switches, cleaning floor from the small dot of the paint, make it everything perfect on the end. That's why we little bit slow down and you don't see the process, but that's very important from the end. When it's finished, is everything perfect. We build up so well whole job, but client not gonna see that's what is inside the wall. They don't gonna see that because everything is covered. They're gonna see that they finish the floor, they finish of the work, yeah? And they don't realize how much work we put into the wall just to make this happen. With high-end residential finish, you can't put like 20 people try speed it up because it's not working. You have to make it plan just to make one thing done, and then another person can jump in and finish it another bit. If you put them together, it's not gonna work this way. Before we leave the site, we do our own snagging. Whatever we find, we try fix it. We just go around with Bartosz and Chris and look at everywhere in a small corner bathroom, make sure the silicone is done perfect. You have the lights in the ceiling, even small little bit of paint, we remove that. You open the door, sometimes the people leave the paint of the hinge. You can paint perfectly the door frame, but that's make it like not proper finish. Doing that is like limited of snagging what the client is gonna do after he move in. Always is something, but it's make it less is better for us. Every time when I come to the yard, I see the big progress with the concrete. They're going very well, they're going very fast, and I think they're gonna pour some concrete now also.
You are right, Dudek. And these final slabs up the top are a race against time. With trains planned for next week, we need these poured and 7 days for them to cure before the train gets in so they're not damaged. The slabs are not connected and there are expansion joints, but when the train is fully loaded, it weighs over 2,000 tons. So no matter what we do, there are going to be small movements and vibrations. So the longer it has to cure, the better. Down the bottom of the yard, we remove the scaffolding walkway and jersey barriers and begin to build up the levels while pouring another infill slab in front of the workshop. Then we prepare 2 more sections we can pour tomorrow, which are going to cause a problem, as we're not going to be able to get to the cement silo to load.
right when, for the first time in a long time, we have concrete supply work on. Isn't that just the way? And that's it for Thursday. It's Friday. I'm not in the yard. I'm at a petrol station in Croatia. And it just so happens that the Aurus, which I can no longer drive because of the mechanical problems, is on the back of the support vehicle, which was filling up at the same time. Little Scania 500S. Whoa, there we are. Look at that for a tight fit. When this gets back to a garage and it's fully examined, I'll be able to let you know the full extent of the damage. It's just making a knocking sound coming from the passenger side. Back in the yard, we made a plan for the concreting issue we had. We went over to one of our neighbors in the old yard, and they are gonna let us fill up cement for the foreseeable future. And as soon as we finish the concreting in front of the silo, they're going to refill in our yard until we pay them back. I think it's only about 12 ton we need. And this morning we had 3 loads of ballast come in. So we're set for the weekend because I hope to be pouring on Saturday as well. Finally, after a long week of fun and networking, we have arrived at our final destination. Now, you've seen over the past few weeks, we've been talking a lot about the L860 and how we were going to manage it tracking up and down on the tracks. We didn't want to destroy them. We went through all the ideas of attaching rubber pads to the existing tracks, which needed to be bespoke made because they are not made in 750 wide. Then we spoke about changing the existing tracks to 800 wide so we could buy 800 wide rubber pads off the shelf. And in the end, when all is said and done, we've decided to fit flat shoes to the existing tracks. Now, we've decided to do that because we felt that rubber was the best option, but we're told by the manufacturer that no matter what we do, the rubber tracks will not last because of the way the machine sprags and moves. Flow is fantastic on the machine, but with all the will in the world, operationally, when he's trying to get that train loaded or offloaded as fast as possible on that concrete, they are going to wear away extremely fast. And each time we need to replace them, it was going to cost £10,000. So while we're doing it, we are also going to begin to take the wrap off because it was extremely damaged. And while it's hot, it comes off very easily. And from what I hear, the machine has been fabulously protected beneath the wrap. So there shouldn't be any scratches in it at all. A couple of dents from where it swung round and Flo couldn't see what was behind him or somebody parked something too close. But other than that, the machine will look good. So let's begin to strip the machine down this evening. And then first thing tomorrow morning, we'll start the work on the tracks. It's Saturday and I'm in the hotel. I just watched Ashville Weekly episode 246, which is coming out tomorrow morning. Always remember these videos are 2 weeks behind. Now, not Yanni, because he's taking the cars with his team to the transportation vehicles, and it's like 7 or 8 minutes away from here. But everybody else has gone to a beach club somewhere local, but I'm sat on the laptop working. And to be honest, the majority of the work I did was working on video bits and writing notes. I've been toying with it for a while. I'm working on the next stage in my life, and I'm trying to have like a balanced decision because we all have a bad day, and sometimes we think a certain way on a particular day because we haven't slept or because we've had a bad run or we haven't eaten or we're just being moody. But I am basing my decision on what's happening in my life day to day, what I want to do in the future, and how I feel. And I can confirm that the weekly videos are going to stop. There will still be an Ashville channel where we are going to document what's going on 100%. And I am working on something new, which means that the videos will document that once it goes through, which will be completely different. There will be elements which are similar, but it will be a completely new setting and completely new targets and goals. But I cannot get to that point while I'm being suffocated by watching videos repeatedly and making notes and planning content. And I never want to be in a position where I make videos for the sake of it. But forgive me, I feel like I'm getting there at the moment. I have documented my journey for 5 years now on a weekly basis, never missed a week. And we suffer the most in our own minds. Always remember that. But I feel like a lot of the possible storylines and things I want to share, I believe at the moment I've almost exhausted them, if I'm honest with myself, and I'm possibly flogging a dead horse. Some people will feel that I'm being dramatic, some people will feel I'm right, and some people may have just joined the channel not long ago and think, what's he going on about? If you can, go back to episode 1 and please watch all of the standalones as well. I am 100% not going to just disappear, and videos that will come out in the future, they will still go for our 8 a.m. slot on Sunday, but I want to remove the pressure of having to have a video each and every week, week in and week out, and continually documenting it. I need to take that off my shoulders, take it off the team's shoulders, and with that same energy and resource, momentarily point it in a different direction. But as I said, I'm not just going to disappear, and I will talk you through all of it. And the majority of my explanations will be done retrospectively, not in real time. But there will be other videos, like I will showcase the Central London Penthouse project. I'll showcase the refurbishment project when it's complete. It depends what the client will let me do. I had a conversation yesterday, and it appears that Ashville are going to be building a swimming pool and a basement, another project. So, sorry and thank you at the exact same time. There'll be more next week, of course, which I will share once I have compiled as much information as I can in my head, and I've worked through it and worked out the best way to share it. And that's it for Ashville Weekly, episode 246. But I'm not going yet, because we're going to head back to the yard, because the work on the LH60 has continued today, and by the end of today it should be complete, and we should have moved more material up to the top of the yard.